All right, here's the deal. I got into a 4-hour-long discussion with Paul Morrissey. So that's way too long for a podcast. So I split it up this week. The first third I put out on Monday. You guys might have heard that. It was all about Morrissey's college basketball playing career. And the second third, or period if you're a hockey player, was all about him doing the sports for the local news. And that was kind of fun. And then this last third, which is like an hour and a half, more than a third if you can do quick Jew math in your head, it was just discussion. I'm just going to include this as like bonus features. I'm not going to call this a Skeptic Tank because we didn't specifically go into any topic that I wanted to. He interviewed me a little bit, actually, too. But it was fun. We talked about moving to New York and doing comedy there and the fear that's holding me back from doing it. And then we talked about Catholicism a little bit and what a horrible, crooked organization I think that's become. And he actually told me some stuff that sort of enlightened me. He gave me a way of thinking about Catholics that I hadn't really thought of before. And that's kind of actually the point of the Skeptic Tank. It's that skepticism, modern skepticism, is not to doubt or to think someone is wrong. It's to question and to think, this might be right, but I want to know about it. So I try to keep an open mind about things, and he sort of led me to, I don't know, go through like a crisis of how I feel about how much hatred I have for Catholics and the organization in general. But listen, it's fun. So December 7th, my Storyteller show, $5, and we give away a signed, framed copy of the sweet posters that Kevin Christie makes. You can go to my website for details and for any sort of road dates that I do, stand-up comedy gigs I do around the country or around Hollywood. It's arithegreat.com. The next Storyteller show after this is January 3rd. I don't know what the topic is going to be yet. And that's it. Please enjoy the last part of this conversation. Skeptic Tank jack shit. No number. It's just the bonus features. No music. Let's just get the conversation. Me and Morrissey. Go. How long did you do comedy in New York?
From 2001 to 2004.
Okay. Man, I want to go do comedy there.
You do.
What?
Haven't you done it before?
I have done it before, but I mean like do it night after night.
You want to move to New York?
For a year or two. Yeah. It doesn't have to be forever. We're not in that time anymore.
You leave this place?
I'm waiting for them to kick me out. They keep threatening to tear this building down. They'd have to pay us $10,000 to leave. So we're all hostages for this $10,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can't leave because if we leave, we get nothing. But they won't tell us when the actual day is. It's been 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're like,
they ran out of funding, and then it was like, no, but they're still not renting any places that people move out from. They're not renting them because they don't have to pay people the $10,000.
Oh yeah, I saw there's like an empty place right there.
But there's no for sale sign up, for rent sign.
Or are they just gonna turn it into like a residence?
Like a mall or something.
Oh, okay.
And like a few condos. They're going to go underground. They're going to have this whole complex with the other place, too.
Okay. Yeah, so what will your step be, like, to New York? Like, what will you do there?
Club comedy.
You're just going to try to just do spots?
Work out. I mean, I would call and get a commercial agent. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that wouldn't be difficult at all, I don't think. Not cocky. I just have enough. I've done enough with it. You know, most agencies would just take me.
But you were just talking about how you wouldn't have the confidence to do that. I think that you feel like most people wouldn't just say, I could go to New York. Like that's like tough. Like I remember when I moved there, like I was like, I know I'm gonna get loans. I'll wait around. I ended up moving in with like 2 other comics, but I had a buddy that like saved up $10,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, I won't have to work for like a year, and I'll just do comedy. And like 3 months later, he's like playing at Hollywood or something like that. Like New York, it will fucking kill you. Like at least LA, like the rent's a little bit more manageable, but like New York, it's like $20 to breathe.
That's the problem. It's not the rent that's so much more expensive. You can find a place. My friends live in places, 2 bedrooms for $2,000. You can find 1 bedroom for $1,500 or $1,800.
Yeah,
it's like double here.
Right,
but it's not crazy. But yeah, everything costs money. Like sodas all cost $3 instead of $1.
Right. And somebody was saying, like, well, you don't have the car. And I was like, yeah, but you still have to take the subway everywhere.
Yeah. You got to take subway and cabs. You just save on insurance. You don't have to get auto insurance. But I just want to know what that's like. People are like, is the winter going to suck? I'm like, yes, it is going to suck. I'm not trying to brag. And I'm not one of those guys like, no, I love cold. I hate it. It would kill me. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't want to do that. I want to run from spot to spot and stumble home. I want to meet some chick at a fucking club in New York at the Cellar and fucking go home and fuck. I just want to do it all. I want to get a slice of pizza on the way home every night.
He's romanticized.
It is romanticized, but I fucking love it there. I love doing a week of comedy. I did 4 days this year, 4 or 5 days. I just try to get as many spots as I can, just fuck around and stumble around.
No, it is great. Like I went to New York City literally for 1 day.
Yeah.
And I did an interview at Sirius XM in 3 spots.
Yeah.
Like that's 1 day.
I did O&A last time I was there.
Oh, I did the Ron and Fez show. That's
nice.
on the same channel. But that's like what I do a week here. I'll do like a podcast and
a lot of that's only because you're only there for a short period of time, so you call ahead.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that every day.
But that's what you're thinking. Like, hey,
too. It's like all right. I know that every club is random and every club has their own Mitzi who like decides yes or no whether you can get in. Mm-hmm. But it's like I know there's a couple clubs that are like you're not our taste. We don't like you at all. Mm-hmm. But I'll get into most of them.
But you're developing your own kind of way of doing things. Like you're not on Chelsea lately.
No, I'm not.
Or
and
like
I can do this
like
podcast from there, from anywhere. My first 3 were from there. That I recorded there.
And all the touring. I mean,
you can tour from anywhere.
I mean, that's why I'm going to. I'm leaving next week. I'm doing Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Buffalo, Syracuse. Like I'm just gonna be working other clubs in here for like 2 months.
What are you doing in Ottawa?
There's an Absolute Comedy club there. Yeah, there's a good club there. There's a good club in Toronto. Toronto's like a great comedy city. Mm-hmm. In Montreal.
The Yuck Yucks in Toronto.
Oh yeah, the Yuck Yucks is like the evil empire.
Oh yeah, I don't get into that.
They don't they won't let any of the people that are signed at Yuck Yucks work these independent.
They got a weird
clubs.
system in Canada where they're all like you have to sign with us. That's here
crazy.
Like you're hired for the week or whatever.
Yeah, and that's why like the Absolute clubs they use like a lot of New York comics and stuff, but they're getting better than the Yuck Yucks ones because it's just people are sick of
the same stable of people.
Or it's like so ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that system was like it's an antiquated system.
Yeah, like
they used to be like that here. If you were at the Comedy Store, you better not show your name at the Laugh Factory or the Improv. If they find out, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
but now it's like we all just want spots.
Yeah, if you have 5 great comedians, let's make sure they don't develop quite as fast as they should.
Yeah, how about every club enjoys having that comic?
Yeah.
Because most people aren't coming for anybody specific.
Right.
They're coming for the good time. So you want like a Caparulo or a Renazzisi or whatever because they'll have a better time at your club.
Right.
So also if they're at the Laugh Factory, go let them have a better time there too. They'll just like comedy.
Yeah.
Who cares? Ugh, whatever.
It's so dumb.
They do that in so many cities. And it's just like, I'm not getting involved. I am not. If I like playing this club, I'll play this club. If this club offers me a lot of money, I'll play that club. It's like whatever I like playing. I don't want to have to because I do your thing here in this other city that has nothing to do with you. They don't even have the chicken tenders that I like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem is that most of those clubs, like,
Improvs have done that too with people. They do that with a lot of people.
Well, every place that's doing
they're like,
well
you better
now,
not do somewhere else. And in Denver, that became a problem because it was like the Denver Comedy Works is one of the best clubs in the country.
Uh-huh.
And then the Improv was trying to say, well, if you play our improvs, you play only our improvs. You can't play. It's like, why? What if you've been going there for fucking 5 years?
Yeah.
And it's your favorite place to go, and then the Improv opens up near the fucking airport?
Right.
So you're supposed to be like, all right, I'll show my allegiance to you and not do this awesome venue?
Well, what do you think about this? I think they could have the same comedian play that club for 3 months and nobody would know.
I think you're right, especially as a feature or an MC. They'd be like, we can't have you 2 weeks in a row. Like, nobody's coming back.
That's the problem with comedy right now. Like, every UCB and all these cool places that, the Improv Lab, these tickets are $5. Like, people will go there a couple times a month. Like, people can't afford to go to a comedy club, twice a year. It's like $100 to, like...
I keep my storyteller show at $5 because I want people to be able to go.
Yeah, exactly. I want people to go to the show.
I just want a good show. I just want a fun show.
Yeah.
It's just about the art form, not the...
And
making any cash.
Just sick of peak of like there's that Dangerfields club in New York, and like every time I work there, there's always like 2 people complaining at the end of the night, like, but we had 2 drinks and there's only 2 of us and it's $80. And it's like some college kid's like, I thought this was gonna be
fun.
$20.
It's just breaking me.
Yeah.
They do that in New York a lot too. Like if you played Caroline's, you weren't allowed to play somewhere
bill.
else. It's just so stupid. Yeah, let your people earn money and do whatever they want.
Well, that was the thing. That Comedy Cellar. I remember when I went to NYU. It was like $7 for a ticket,
That's
you
pretty
get
cheap.
Like a pitcher of beer for like $10.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and even
That's not
now
bad.
it's like a little bit more now because
I think the Cellar, even still, if you go online to the Comedy Cellar, you can get 4 free tickets to just about any show. Like not New Year's shows or anything like that. Nothing crazy.
yeah,
But like you can get 4 free tickets, and they say only 4 because they don't want you making a big group and
Right.
disrupting the show. But that's always available, I think.
and it's a little more cachet than it used to be back then. But even now, like they do 3 shows on like a Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That place is my favorite place to hang
Yeah,
out.
it's so awesome.
Did you used to perform there when you were there?
No, that's the
It's the
thing.
last stage I want to perform on, I think, that I know about that I haven't been on.
Yeah, and I never done Caroline's either. I don't think
Caroline's okay.
I did like this.
It's a really small stage.
I haven't done the new Gotham either. I did the old one.
New Gotham's beautiful. And they have ex-cops or off-duty cops working it. So if there's somebody disrupting, it's not some 130-pound door guy who wants to be a comedian saying, can you please be quiet? I'm going to ask you again if you don't. It's some guy who grabs you and shoves you out. And then you can start doing your talking when you're in the hallway.
What's the best club what's like one of the clubs you haven't worked at? Because I haven't done that Denver one. I haven't done Acme.
The Comedy Works is one of the best clubs. I've heard Acme in Minnesota is amazing. Have not played there. The Denver Comedy Works is probably my favorite. Cap City in Austin.
Yeah, I heard that
Pretty
one too.
amazing. The original room at the Comedy Store
Yeah.
is amazing. And I
did
really,
that
I really like
once.
the DC Improv.
Yeah, DC Improv is my favorite like road club.
Mm-hmm. That was my first like road club that I started doing, only because I'm from there, and so John X would give me spots and stuff.
Yeah.
But they opened up a new club there too, Riot Act, which is like in a different part of town.
Is that his club?
It's his new club, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like a beautiful fucking club, and it's right near where the Wizards play. No, the Bullets. I'm not calling them Wizards. I refuse to adjust. Yeah, that's a really nice one. But then it's like, but I haven't performed there yet. But Denver Comedy Works is it's probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's like I'm still like having those like there's still clubs that I want to play, and then when I was in New York, they had that like
The Comedy Cellar is the last stage that I really want to get on.
Well, they had the ad up for Bill Burr doing Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm really aiming low here. Like,
He's doing Carnegie Hall, and I'm just trying to get up at
I was
that.
like, I thought I kind of had high aspirations, and I've come a little bit in 10 years or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. I'm in New York hoping to get a spot at a coffee place.
The stand-up New York has always been really cool with me.
Yeah.
When Wayne Rader was there, he was cool with me, and then the new guys that took over.
He just opened a club, Wayne.
I don't know where that is.
CJ's or something.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
I think it's right near the Cellar.
That's
what I heard.
Oh, I think they redid that. I know what you're talking about. It's that downstairs room. I looked in there. That's nice. Way nicer now.
And then there's like a Broadway East or
Yeah, I haven't been in
Eastville or
that one.
something.
East
Yeah,
Village Comedy Club. There's just so many. If you just want to
Yeah.
work out, there's so many.
Well, that was the thing is like back then it was still like you had to get passed and you had to do this and you had to do that. And my roommates all ran like little rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was
Like,
like
don't bother. I'll just get up in these
I
places.
can just do these and then
And then the alternative rooms too.
Yeah.
There are legitimate good shows around town.
right. And then
Some-
when I moved to LA, it was like, okay, there's a guy that books a TV show that's never seen me before.
Yeah.
And so then you start doing these other things, and everyone's in New York. Like, they got their like Monday night spot at New York Comedy Club,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Wait, I thought being a regular here was like the goal," and then like, but you're doing TV.
Yeah.
And
they
then
look
they're
at
like,
you
"How
like,
do you do that?" And I was like, "You gotta keep."
I don't know. How do you do what you're doing? Yeah.
You gotta focus on that. That was that whole thing of like, the Bill Burr thing. He's like, "Well, he's setting his goal higher than me." Like,
I asked him Dice once, and he asked me like, every once in a while he's giving me really good advice, but out of the blue, he was like, "So what do you want to do? Like, what's your goal here?" I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, I like doing stand-up comedy." That was always like at some point I started reaching for like I want to be the star of some sitcom and stuff too. But I've always really base-wise, if I could just make a living doing stand-up,
yeah,
like that's my base goal. The rest of that shit is on, cherry on top, or will help me be a better stand-up or get more gigs.
yeah.
If I'm on some sitcom.
But
or
there's
something.
no focus on like I want to do a special or I want
Right.
to do this TV.
But he was
show
like, "So
or
how
something."
like what kind of places do you want to play?" I was like, "I don't know. I'd love to headline, like 300 seaters."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Why? Why not bigger?" I was like, "Can't. I mean, what? I mean, I'm sure it was great. You did theaters, stadiums, but I can't do that." And he's like, "Why? Why can't you? Why would you say that?" I don't. And then just walked away.
Yeah,
Like, of course you can. If you just put your, I mean, you might not get it, but
right.
you could
Well, I mean,
try. Why not? Why not set your goals up high?
it is that thing that's kind of crazy because
I don't
mean,
ever though.
who have you seen about that? I mean, in the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen like, I've seen Gaffigan, Tosh, like.
What do you mean, blow up?
Russell Peters, I mean, and for those guys even, it's got to be a surprise, right?
That's why Russell's so cool with his money. Russell, whenever you're out to eat with him, he's always like, it was Paul's birthday 3 weeks ago, so I'll pay for all 20 of you.
Right.
Like just any excuse he can come up with. Because I think he just got it so suddenly, and he was like, "Oh, I'm a millionaire all of a sudden." Nobody begrudges him for his money.
Yeah, and he's so cool, man. Like he's from Toronto, and he's like, I used to do those same upstate New York shit gigs, and all of a sudden, like 50 million people that are Indian across the world know who he is.
It's not just Indians.
Yeah,
they always say that with him.
Oh, but the like original one was like some kid in India like just sent like 1 million people his clip, and everybody liked it. So,
but honestly, it's not because his goals were set up that high.
Right.
He's just that Indian kid learned computers.
And that was the thing, as I did Ferguson, and Russell was the guest.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So I got to like kind of meet him, and then
he got me a hot dog in Montreal. That I was so hungry and drunk, and I had to stay. And they went, to eat, and I was like, "Fuck!" And he got me one and brought it back. Him and Kathleen Madigan. What's her name? Fuck, I can't remember her last name now.
Kathleen Madigan?
No, it's not Kathleen Madigan. Kathleen McGee. That's why.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and when he gave it to me, I was like, "Thank you so much." Like I know this costs like $1 or something, but I need this so bad right now. Mm-hmm. He's a nice dude. That's all.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy, man. He like we did this show because this is when I knew how big he was. Obviously, I was like, I knew he was kind of famous, and then and it was super nice to me on the TV show because I was the comic and he was just the guest. He goes, I don't feel any pressure at all, man. It must be weird to have to do a set tonight. And I was like, yeah, it is. And so we did this show. It was like a charity for like Kevin Nealon's friend, and it was like, it was me hosting, and it was like. And I introduced Kevin Nealon, and I think that's going to be a big deal. Yeah. And then I was like, and Russell Peters will be out here. And then the place goes fucking bananas.
And that's when you had your realization.
Oh, okay.
Everybody has their Russell moment where they realize. With me, I was walking outside of UFC. We were leaving. We were sitting there together. We had the Rogan tickets. And as we were leaving, I think it was Mandalay Bay or one of those, but everyone sort of corks into the same spot like from both angles, so it creates like a traffic jam. Getting out of a stadium. It's a lot of people. Right. And all these Asian people, like regular Asian people, like, dude, Russell Peters. It was like a group of like 6 or 7 of them. And I was like, what? And they were like, I can't believe, can we take a picture with you? And he's like, sure. It's out of context. It's out of fucking UFC. And I was like, I didn't think anyone in America knew you. And I thought you were all supposed to be only Indian. Yeah. Like, these are straight American Chinese kids. Right. Who are huge fans of yours.
Yeah. And you can't even, like, I remember it was like two or 3 years ago, it was like that thing in Toronto, like, he sold out the Air Canada Center
during the Montreal Comedy Festival or Toronto Comedy Festival.
But he sold it out twice. So it was like 17,000 people twice in like 2 days or something.
That's so big.
And but the thing was, so he does great in the show, and then the guy, he knows like every famous so like the bass player from No Doubt was there or something, and had just been hanging out with him. So he like hangs out, and then Russell's like, hey, Angelo, do you want to come to his bachelor party? I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. And I thought he was just, like, being nice. And then, like, he calls me, like, you're coming tomorrow, right? And it was, like, that Mastro's Steakhouse. So he, like, buys this whole room and, the steakhouse and asks, so eat there, and then he asked everybody to come back to his place, and it was like such a nice dude, man. And it was
did my Storyteller show in Montreal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I forget that Montreal's Canada, and sometimes that Russell's that big in Canada. I don't do the math in my head. I know he's huge, but whatever. But I was like, yeah, if you want to do it, he's like, oh, totally. It was like, seats like 80 or 100. I'm hoping, people come. And he's like, sort of laughed. He's like. People will come. Like I just didn't realize like he's that big. He's Canadian Jesus. That's what I like to call him. But he was so goddamn funny. Yeah. Doing sex story jokes.
Yeah. He's funny, and he does that. He used to be a DJ. Yeah. He's like really into DJing still. Yeah, so it's
weird.
Like he had that whole room in his house that was just like DJ stuff.
Really?
And he was like you could tell he really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, that's great that he's like.
That's what he's a nerd about.
This other thing, because if people get famous, they get into the big sign when you get famous or rich is like you get a zoo. That's always like the downfall. Like that, if you go to that Hearst Castle or like Michael Jackson or anybody that tries to like have a pet
It's
tiger,
a zoo. That's the time.
It's like
There's some preview for a movie that I just saw about some couple that had a zoo. They took over a zoo. Might have been Will Ferrell in it or something. I don't know. But I'm like, isn't this the story of that Ohio guy that just released them all and committed suicide by lying?
It's like the Playboy Mansion. All right, you got a zoo.
Peacocks.
You're losing it. It's over.
You don't have a grasp on reality. You're absolutely right. That's the sign. Like you're not supposed to have a zoo.
Right.
You're a regular person.
And you don't know how to take care of animals.
So who has a zoo? Russell doesn't. No, but that's his version of the zoo. Is having yeah.
I'm just saying, like, for a famous person to, you can enjoy hockey or DJing isn't a weird thing, or basketball or something. Like, guys,
if you have a hoop in your backyard, that's not crazy.
Like Gary Shandling has a basketball game in his house. Like that's
really, that's not that crazy. If you have a bunch of llamas.
Right.
Like that's a little weirder. People are gonna notice that
because you're not even worried about taking care of them. You just want to have a llama.
That house that fell down on Laurel Canyon is still not built up. I'll have little lion cages.
Oh, really?
You can still sort of see them.
What would be your thing if you got like
a bunch of
crazy money? What would be your weird thing?
Oh, like what do I have and like build in my like a bowling alley in the house or something?
Yeah, that's so 80s though.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. It wouldn't be a bowling alley.
Every time I hear like Eddie Murphy,
man, I'm so lazy. I might just
Eddie Murphy's got a bowling alley. It's like that's
who cares? How often do you go bowling?
Yeah,
once a year.
Well, doesn't Rogan have like that chamber or something? Doesn't he have like a?
Oh yeah, he has one of those.
Yeah, that's kind of out there, right?
Yeah, that's a little out there. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good out there one.
Hyperbaric. No, that was a Michael Jackson thing, right?
Oh yeah,
hyperbaric chamber.
I forget what they're called now, but we're so far off topic.
I know, right?
It's in like 35 minutes of topic off.
I was just starting to think about how it's not that crazy to have a doctor like put you out like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
If you had the money, you might do
this
it.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do with this episode. I just realized because we've been off topic for like 30 minutes now.
Okay.
Like we had a nice, good, long run of it. I was thinking of splitting these into two sometimes because I'm like, they go long. Because I know some people look at these like they look at YouTube clips where they're like, 6 minutes? No. I'll watch the 40-second one.
Right.
But some of these, like I don't want people doing that. Like 2
right.
hours, I'm not going to listen to that. Or listen to only a few minutes. But some people like listening to it all the way through, especially if it has a flow. Like we kept getting back into like how you developed this newscasting.
Just making you edit.
But then once we go out of that, it's like the last 30 minutes isn't, but it's still conversation.
Yeah.
So let's just separate it from the rest.
Is it more comedy based? Well, that was the thing. Like when you're talking to Neil, like, what do we talk about? Do we talk about?
I thought I
sports?
told you what
do
we were
talk
going to
about?
do. Oh yeah. I guess it could have been about about all those weird foods. Yeah. I like the sports stuff.
Well, I like your I'm helping you figure out your career right now. I almost convinced you to move to New York.
It's in me, so it's just because I'm lazy, and that's the reason. If I had a lot of money, I might just stay here in this apartment. Where it's
it's not lazy because if you get thrown out of here, that might force you to make a decision.
Yeah, that would because I'm like I got to move anyway.
And the whole thing is, it's not forever. You can move to New York for a summer or something.
Yeah.
It's not.
If I really am there for 6 months and I don't get into any clubs, it's like, all right, mission failure.
Couldn't say goodbye to all this.
It's fine. I want to move from here anyway. I've been here for so long. I'm bored with it now. I'm bored with it. Girls come over here, they're like, Ari, it looks like you live in a frat house. Like mismatched couches. And I'm like, yeah, I got to move with your time.
You could probably leave it in the apartment next door and they wouldn't notice.
He's crazy. He already moved out. He went nuts. He started seeing red people. I think he was on some Klonopin or something. He started seeing the red people all around that weren't there. And they dragged them off to the loony bin.
And then he
came back in and broke into a bunch of apartments.
You'd miss the next season of Sean Kemp's Kids, too.
I think this is it for us. I think we're breaking up after this. I think they're going to a draft.
We're like the Yankees. They got to break us up.
Yeah, I was gonna get more and more. I think with other stuff. I think they're breaking them up. Plus, we were all gone this year.
Yeah.
Last year was our year, and we got upset in the championship game.
That was too much of a. That was too quick of a turnaround. We needed
this year. We were all still. Yeah, we need to have fucking more time because we're all still so hurt by that. This year, none of us were in town for like.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of us made
games.
more than half the games.
Yeah.
You played 3. I probably played 4 or 5.
Yeah.
As bad as I've ever played was this year. I've lost my confidence. Same sort of thing. Because you were around more last year, and you got me worked in more. So I was good for 4 points a game with no back. But now it's like I'm not even looking to shoot ever.
Made some foul shots last night.
I made 1 out of 2 foul shots. I can make a foul shot, but like, God, I'm so out of shape.
Well, this isn't going to help.
What?
Having a bad knee.
Oh no. Oh, luckily, yeah, I have an excuse. Maybe I'll just be the coach for the playoff game.
All right, I'll refocus. What did you? So you're asking if you're going to break these up, or if you should?
I'm sort of thinking out loud, but I think like for something like this, it's easier to break up because we had the conversation about.
Yeah.
We fleshed out that whole thing.
Last thing is about comedy mostly, probably.
Yeah. So then it's like I'll just add that as an extra thing for Thursday. But I shouldn't be talking about it because that's what they'll see. What'll happen. So whatever. Are you going to Hermosa? Did you get a call, or what do they do?
I didn't check my phone.
What time would you have to leave if you go there? Like a long time ago? 6:30.
Yeah, I think I did. Hey, can you pause it real quick?
Yeah, sure. I can pause it. That's a great thing about this thing. Oh, and there it goes. Unpause. It's been like 45 minutes though that we've been gone. That's what everyone listening to this just experienced was a leap through time.
A meandering.
Yeah. But we were talking about, all right, well, whatever. We decided to split this up into 2 podcasts, so let's just keep talking, though, for a minute, because we're just interesting. What were you saying about do you mind talking about this stuff at all?
Yeah.
You don't want? Okay. All right. Well, we won't talk about what it
we were talking about getting you to move to New York.
Yeah, okay, we can get back to that. Such a doofus. Nobody cares anymore.
Do you really want to do it? Do you really want to move, do you think?
I don't want to move. I want to have moved. I want to just be there.
Right.
If I could do a snap and everything else, or even pay like $150 or $500 to just have everything moved to a new apartment in New York, yeah, I would already be there.
Yeah, that's
so hard.
I would do it just for, if you told me, like, hey, there's a job here for 2 months, I would do it like in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Any job that works in New York, I was like, oh. I was so close to getting this commercial that's playing now. It's this guy, I think it's T-Mobile or something like that. And it was it's shot in New York. And there was this guy saying, like, Bob, I want you to do this. Margaret, check your Facebook. Tom, do whatever. And there's one guy by the water cooler, and it's supposed to be me. And they're like, yeah, they're telling the client they wanted you to do it. And they're like, but it shoots in New York. And I called ahead for some spots. I was so excited that I was like, the night I land, I won't have to shoot, so I can just go to the Comedy Cellar or just go somewhere, go to stand-up. I was just so excited, and then I didn't get it. But it was like, I was more disappointed just not being able to go to New York.
Right.
I love it there, man. I love falafel.
You're like so into it right now.
I like walking. If I'm like going to like Metzger's house or whoever I'm staying with or whatever, or any hotel room, I just walking home. Like I'll find something to eat on this walk, on this 20-minute walk home.
Right.
I'll just find something will be open.
Yeah.
At 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, well, my buddy has those restaurants there, so I'd love to like just go, so I'd be able to check all those out. And, and finally eat a lot of the shitty food that I haven't tried yet. I tried like Brussels sprouts or something at his place. It was called Double Crown. Now it's called Saxon and Parole.
Really?
It's on like Bleecker and Bowery, and they had like these like some kind of weird Brussels sprouts, like caramelized Brussels sprouts.
Really?
And it was awesome.
I love Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. And I'd never had them before.
Oh, they're great.
So.
They're an underrated vegetable.
Yeah.
I crush them with like spices. They have these steamables. You keep them in the freezer. You can pop them, bag and all, into the microwave, cook them for 5 minutes, or whatever it is.
Is it better than that Nutter Butter Shake from last night?
Did you have that?
No.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. At Fat Burger now, they got a peanut butter shake made with real Nutter butter, and there's a few pieces of Nutter butter still left in there. You can suck through the straw. Oh, it was awesome. You don't eat milkshakes either?
No, I have milkshakes.
There was a dude like you in Montreal, and he was doing some documentary about him trying new foods. And Hannibal Buress took him out. I couldn't work out at the time. I was going to give him a pot brownie.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I'll have you eat something, but I'll have you eat something. Let's just do this.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Check in with you in an hour and a half.
I've tried enough brownies. Like any kind of desserts, I will try.
You will try?
Yeah. Dessert, anything with sugar in it, probably I'm fine. But anything that's like green or smells funny.
I heard a study that or my ex actually, Ashley, said that your taste buds when you're little are super undeveloped, so you can just crush sugar like all day long because you just need it because you have these undeveloped taste buds. And then as you get older, you start enjoying things like coleslaw or like stuff you never had any taste for at all before, and you don't need sugar nearly as much because your taste buds have like become more mature.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's what I'm thinking, that maybe
something you didn't like back then. Or
each decade goes, I'll like.
Because it's green. Is there a reason you're not gonna? It's just so stupid.
I'll have soup.
Just a color. It's a hue. That's all that is. It doesn't mean it's gross. It's also a similar color to mold.
It's a tree. It looks like grass. I don't know. It's just.
I guess not an idiot. You're just
No, I have
dysfunctional.
ridiculous food habits.
So that's so weird that you're in such svelte shape, having weird food habits. How do you maintain your barrel-like body?
Well, I'm. That's the thing when you're like playing basketball 5 hours a day. That's why you watch like Hard Knocks. It's so funny because they'll talk about how great shape all those football players are in, and then they'll order like 15 pizzas. And it's just like they can have like a pizza each just because they've been working out like 9
so they
hours
can just crush everything.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm talking about Renazizi this podcast so much, but we did a commercial with Tiger Woods, in Orlando, and he just eats nonstop. He's just always eating small meals just because he works out so much.
right.
I guess he's probably just fucking chicks. I guess that was his main.
No, he seemed like a guy that was trying to like had some kind of system in order. I mean, that's the thing is like, I don't know. My approach now is like, I mean, it's like the Sylvester Stallone Copland rule.
Yeah, that's your.
He's like, yeah, I don't mind having an extra 15 or 20 pounds. You know,
everyone at the diner knows my name. That's not the worst life in the world. All right,
but I don't think the vegetables is what's
stopping you,
putting the weight on.
Yeah, it's probably the Triscuits. Somebody explained to me that once. It was like I couldn't figure out why this vegan I knew from jiu-jitsu was like chubby. I was like, he's vegan though.
Yeah.
And they're like, Doritos are vegan. You eat those all day long.
Yeah.
It's not healthy at all.
Were you super skinny in high school, or were you like
skinny in high school? I remember when my Edgar was just talking to me about this. He has, but my friends could see my heart beating when we play like shirts and skins for football. You could see my heart beating through my chest. And Edgar has this now, just from malnourishment, I guess, with him. But I was like 16 or 17.
There's no muscle tone.
None at all. But then in college, I got fat. When I got back from Israel, I got fat.
That'll do it.
Because I also went to Yeshiva University, which is like an anti-ghetto. It's like 2 blocks of nice, where all the Jews are, surrounded by just Spanish Harlem.
Oh,
so
right,
it's like,
yeah.
So you don't walk very far at all.
You did go to school in New York then?
For a year, but it wasn't New York. It was 185th in Amsterdam, and we stayed the fuck out there the whole time. I took like 3 trips into the city.
Oh, okay.
It was just
like
such a
near
sheltered...
Columbia, right?
Way past Columbia.
Oh, okay.
Columbia's right in the border of like acceptable, like you can walk around feeling safe if you're like a rich person. If you're poor, if you're trash, then yeah, you feel safe.
Why'd you only go there a year?
Because I lost my faith there, and I was going to an Orthodox Jewish college, Yeshiva University. So since I didn't have any faith, there's really no reason to pay all that extra money.
You lost faith in your math skills?
Nope. I just don't think I can do this accounting like a real Jew, and I have to go somewhere else. No, I just lost my faith in God.
I'd rather study just English.
Yeah. Why am I start at 1 p.m. every day and have to study all Gemara in the morning? Shit I didn't even care about. I had to lock my doors when I stayed there on Saturdays in the dorms. I had to lock my door, piss in a thermos, keep that in a mini fridge, along with cookies or anything else. But the point is also I just didn't. There's only a block or 2 that you totally had to walk, so I just got real sedentary, and I just would eat. We had a canteen right downstairs. Just eat cookies and chips.
Yeah.
And I got fat.
So wait, where did you transfer? Because my school...
I transferred to Maryland, University of Maryland.
Oh, okay. Because at Binghamton University, I think is like 50% Jewish. So that's when the first time I got all the Jewish holidays off. There's a Jewish dining hall called the Kosher Kitchen.
Really?
Yeah.
At Maryland, we had a lot of Jews, but they didn't have the Kosher Kitchen. They did have a Hillel you could go to on campus for kosher meals, but they had I lost my train of thought. I completely lost what we were talking about.
What kind of food they had at the Maryland?
Oh yeah, we had a Hebrew class once. I was faking it and saying I had no expertise in Hebrew. And I had to try to make some mistakes. Like what would their mistakes be here?
Right.
I try to like misshape letters. It'd be like if I'm talking to you right now and then I knew almost all the words and I'd be like, but I don't know the word for what's that thing that closes by the that you can look outside through?
Window.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. And so, just mess up randomly on stuff you would definitely know. I'd have to do that. But the teacher asked us like, how many of you guys are going home for Passover? And then everyone raised their hand. He goes, please don't lie to me. I want to know if I should have class or not. Please. And we all just still raised our hand. He was like, fine, no class.
So then, what was that explanation when you went to just transferred schools? Did you say?
What do you mean explanation? To whom?
Like, did you tell your family
yeah,
you lost faith?
I had to come out to my parents. Yeah. I came out of the closet, out of the religion closet. I told my parents I didn't believe in God, and I was wanting to switch to Maryland. That. Or maybe the switch came later. I'm not positive, but it was like there was no sense of going there, wasting the money anymore. Mm-hmm. It was like I thought about it. I have no belief inside me. I struggled with it for a little bit just to make sure. My friends would try to get me because they were so aghast by it. My friend David Mark was like, fine, if you don't believe, go take the tour right now and throw it on the floor. Which is like, if you do that, you're supposed to fast for like a month if you see it drop on the floor.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I'm not going to desecrate your shit. I don't hate God. I just don't believe in it.
But then the decision was made on saving your parents' money, so maybe you were still
Maybe
Jewish
I was just
point.
trying to respect the faith. Fuck you, Irishman. I love Jewish jokes. I love stupid shit. Racial jokes, too, in general. I'm always like, none of us clearly care at all.
Well, the weird thing is whenever you go to those
stereotypes,
whenever you go to those schools that seem more, like, not segregated, but it's like, I went to, like, a couple colleges where everyone just blended together, so, like, everyone's hanging out with everyone else. But then when there's those schools that have, like, the Black Student Union and the Jewish Student Union and the Asian Student Union.
I said Maryland was the fourth most diverse college in the country. That's what they kept preaching to us. I think the one where Green Day went, where is that? Berkeley was like number 1 and number 2. We're up there. But in the dining hall, black table, white table, white table, black table, black table, Mexican table.
And it seems like
there was no integration. They were just around each other.
I mean, that's easier when because I'm just
though you become friends with them after time. A lot of it too is like that's the first black people we've ever like seen. You don't know how to talk to them, what you can say, or what you can't. It takes a while to get comfortable.
Yeah,
around them. You grew up with all Jews.
Well, my town was it was almost all white. There was 2 black guys in the whole town.
Yeah,
but the one guy was the chief of police, and the other guy was the mayor. So, like, black people run this town, pretty much.
All right, now I guess we'll say our goodbyes.
Yeah, did we figure out your faith? Is that now?
Oh yeah, I don't have any. It's not inside me.
So then, what was your? Did they transfer any credits?
Transferred a few credits because the English classes transferred. Mm-hmm. I think I lost a little bit, so it took me 4.5 total years to graduate. I'm still clinging to that like it's some sort of accomplishment. Mm-hmm. I used to have to tell people when I said 4.5 that I wasn't slow, so I have to give an explanation every fucking time. But I don't care. Who cares if I graduated 80 years ago and 4.5 years before? Anyway, whatever. So most of them transferred, but not all of them.
But so you still felt like school wasn't like a waste of time? Because I know a lot of people say, well, with comedy you can't, but I still feel college was like a big.
Wait, they say what? With comedy you can't what?
Like you can't. There's no use to go to college if you know you want to do comedy.
Well, here's the thing. One, I didn't know.
Right.
I knew it's something I wanted to try at some point once. Mm-hmm. But no, I didn't know that's what I wanted to do for a living. But 2, it's like I could use those years back. It would have been way better for my career to start at 20 instead of 25, and get decent at 25 instead of 30, you know, just bearable at a certain age where you're still a commodity. But like besides that, being the negative, it's like I'm so much better at like looking at my world. Around me,
perspective because you've
my way of
things.
Critical thinking is just way more refined.
Yeah, because
I have to do that about, you know, Joseph Conrad or whoever it is. It's like, well, yeah, I can do that about whoever the idiot next door to me is.
Right. Yeah, like
it just helps. It helps. But it'd be nice to, I don't know, have those years back.
What do you mean years? Like, but
just start years younger.
Yeah.
Like, get on with it already.
Well, when did you start? When you're?
I started at 25.
Yeah, I started at 26, and I always felt like I was behind.
Yeah, the people that come right out of college and it's like, there's more. It takes you a few years before you're not horrible. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it's like, you're just like, or you're like, now you're 25. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, that's great. It'd be great. It'd be way more bookable. We need a funny comic who looks like they're still in high school. I can't do it anymore.
Right.
I'm just out of that gig.
Well, when you look at like Chappelle's like not even 40 and he's been doing comedy like for 25 years.
Exactly. It's like you already had that much under your belt and you're fucking my age now. Like, yeah, he always seems like he seems like he should be 55 by now because he's been around for so long.
But there is a bit of burnout in there. It's like, man, it is like being. Like,
no, how does Chappelle ever burn out? I don't know anything he's ever done weird. And
but it's like the teenage tennis female tennis player that
like
they play
Capriati, drugs start early. Yeah.
14 to 20, and then you're
14
done.
times your professional year, then you go to rehab from 21 to 24. They try to make a comeback. Hey, do me a favor. Let's right now because I'm going to need this for later. Let's just record us saying goodbye after the first podcast ends.
Okay.
It's like, all right, thank you, everybody.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody.
That's Paul Morrissey. Okay.
And that's Ari.
Okay, goodbye. Okay, now we can. I'll cut that and put that at the end of the first episode.
Okay.
And I guess I'll probably just leave it in there too. What else? So yeah, I don't believe in any of that junk. I believe if there's a just God, that He wouldn't make it easier for someone who was raised Irish Catholic to find a necessary belief in God. You have to believe that Jesus died for your sins in order to get into heaven. Without that, you won't go. I think He wouldn't make it way easier for you to come to that decision than for it would be to me.
Well, I believe that...
Unless it's an unjust God, and then now I'm listening.
Well, I believe all the religious basketball organizations, the JCC.
The JCC, I was a member.
The Nazarene Basketball Festival of Life that I played in.
Do you go to church or anything? Do you believe in any of that junk?
I was Catholic. Well, I'm still Catholic, I guess. Or, yeah, because do you ever not become whatever you are? Would you ever still not be Jewish?
If I went back to religion?
No, I'm saying now you still consider yourself Jewish, right?
Racially Jewish. Ethnically. Whatever you want to say, but no, not religiously. But Jewish is a little weird that way.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. No, you can't be Catholic anymore, man.
I can't be?
No.
That would make me feel...
They're an organization that covers up and promotes pedophiles.
Well, here's the thing is I take the good parts of whatever I need from the upbringing though. Like say the YMCA.
Yeah.
It's not because it was like a Christian organization, but it was because I really liked what it does for people.
Okay, but you can take the YMCA,
mm-hmm.
you can take those other things, and you can become a different kind of Christian.
Right.
Become a Protestant.
Well, no, I don't even.
You should stop saying you're Catholic. It's an embarrassment now.
I usually say I'm raised Catholic, but I still consider myself.
You shouldn't be that anymore.
Okay.
You should say I'm raised Catholic, but they've just done too much to be too horrible. Like I can't be part of their organization anymore.
Right.
So now I'm non-denominational or Protestant.
But do you?
Not agnostic.
Because it is really funny that
Anglican.
How different all the California Catholic people are than
really?
East Coast. Yeah.
They cover up pedophiles. They transfer them to other places and let them do it again.
Yeah. I'm against that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's say Obama, let's say you're for his policies, but he rapes once a week.
Right.
You'd be like, well, he's still helping fucking foreign policy really well.
No, I don't know.
But you'd be like, I can't stand up for the raping thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
actually not a crazy leap because that's what the Catholic priests were doing. I didn't realize that. It's like I was trying to go ridiculous.
But obviously, if they said these people are doing it and these people are doing it, I wouldn't go to their churches.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but the head of your church covered up those things and let it happen more.
Right. As an organization, obviously, there's tons of stuff.
You have to be out of that organization.
There's tons of stuff that you
Baptist,
don't agree
be a
with.
Baptist.
But I don't.
What else can you be? Let's figure on something, man. You can't be Catholic anymore. You're too cool. Right now, that means you're supporting it. If you stay in it now, you're supporting it.
Is it?
Yes. 100%.
Sure?
Yeah. If you're in like the guy who fucking headed up the Paterno's thing.
But
his lawyer that head of that council.
I didn't vote
he's
for
like,
the
I'm
Pope.
out. No, you didn't vote for him, but you're like, he's my main guy.
What if I just like Notre Dame?
You can still like Notre Dame. You can still like Notre Dame. But you have to be something other than Catholic. You can't do it. How could you do it? How can you still be a Catholic?
I didn't do anything. You just forced this on me.
But how can you still say at this point that you want to be part of that organization? That's so weird. What do they have to offer you over the other Christian
I've gone to different churches, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling as identifiable to a certain. I don't know.
Christianity.
Like yeah. It's just I have my own set of beliefs and use them accordingly. I don't necessarily.
Yeah, so just say you're Christian from now on.
Okay.
I'm so mad at Catholics. I don't think there's any reason you should still be one.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Unless you're for that stuff.
No,
then
no.
Like, okay, that seems like that's the right organization.
But that's
for you.
what I'm saying is it seems like a big leap to me to make me responsible.
What do you mean? For your own
everything
words
that the church has done.
No, you're not responsible, but you have to get out.
Okay.
You have to get out.
I don't feel like I'm in right now.
Well, just don't say you're Catholic anymore.
You asked me what I was raised or what I was or what. Well, that's the thing. I don't even know.
You're going to think about it next time somebody asks you.
No, but I got married in the Catholic Church and I'm divorced, so I don't think they would consider me Catholic, would they?
Not a good Catholic.
I'm not sure.
And they think that would be worse than if you were a head of a flock of people and you took one of those young children and took him to the back and pulled his pants down and stuck your rock-hard cock into his asshole, just ripped it apart. But that somehow they're still considered Catholics, betraying that child's fucking youth and innocence. But you shouldn't get divorced. How can you say you're a part of that organization?
I didn't.
You have got to never ever say again that you're Catholic. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Well, I know that you obviously came to your own moment of clarity. So, and I'm still working towards mine,
I guess, but with mine, it was like, I don't believe in this, in God in general. You can be a different kind of Christian. You can still be into Jesus, just not Catholic version.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who still believes in something is 100% sure of all the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. But do you not like it because I still have hope?
Hope for what? I don't even mind being religious. I mind a little bit being religious, but Catholic I can't stand.
Okay. Well, I haven't gone in a long time.
It's like, tell me you're in the Klan. It's like, well, 'cause my dad was in the Klan. So it's like, I don't believe in the stuff, but, I know people there. I don't hang anybody. I just go to the meetings. I just talk about stuff.
I don't even go to the meetings anymore.
Right.
I think you'd still be in.
In what, the Klan?
If you didn't go to the meetings. I think if you were ever associated with it at all, it's hard to get out of.
Yeah, sort of. Remember when David Duke ran for president?
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
He was an upper member of the Ku Klux Klan.
I guess that shows like
president, and it wasn't like people laughed him out of the gym.
Right.
It wasn't like it was Jesse Jackson running. Like, okay, enjoy.
I guess it showed he had initiative to work his way up that far.
Jesus. All right, let's finish. This is already like another hour for this other part now.
These are your issues. You're working out on me. I don't feel a responsibility to the Catholic Church for my actions.
Oh.
So.
You don't feel responsibility what?
I can go to any church and feel that I am in control of what I believe and that kind of thing. So I was just telling you, I'm raised Catholic. I would probably still go to a Catholic church, but it's not.
Would you go to a Mormon church if they still like deal with like have couples in the audience that are like one is 12 years old, like a 12-year-old girl married to like a 40-year-old?
Well, you're using specific things.
Would you go to one of those churches?
It's not. I guess you see it as more of a symbol.
It's like, what does this church support?
Right.
And what does that church support? The church you were raised supports fucking boys and girls too.
Obviously, I'm against that, Ari.
Okay. So, you shouldn't hang out with those people.
I'm not hanging out with them.
Yeah. Well, if you don't go to church, you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
I got my own stuff that is still working itself out and becoming,
Yeah.
That's not an easy. Usually men take their whole lives to kind of sort that stuff out.
Okay, the first thing you should concentrate on is until you decide that there's no God, until you finally get to that where you're like, sure, like it's all completely ridiculous. Until you get there, switch Christians. That should be your first goal, is to find a Christian that's not super evil. Forget around the year 1000. Things like that, like current things that are happening, even the last couple hundred years.
Mm-hmm.
The Crusades, just drop that out. That was all right. It was a bad time for everybody.
Okay.
So you can stay Christian, but there's another kind of Christian that's not going to be that bad.
All right, just for you.
Anglican? Isn't Anglican okay? Is that even a thing?
I don't think so. You know more about it than me. Like
Lutheran?
I said, I didn't read anything.
Lutheran and Calvinist, I think, are on the road to Mormonism, on the road to the crazies. They're the out there groups. But I think Protestants pretty much the same shit.
Yeah.
I mean, all the basic stuff. Jesus died for your sins.
You probably know much more about this than me. Because I just...
You ever hear Jimmy Dore's joke about religion? One of the best jokes of all time.
Probably, yeah.
You open for him a lot, huh?
Uh-huh.
He's such a good
I
comic.
used to work with him.
But he goes, you ask people what religion they are, they say Catholic. And they're like, oh, why are you Catholic? It's like, oh, because my parents were Catholic. They're like, most people I know wouldn't let their parents pick out a pair of pants for them. And you're letting them choose your God? That seems a lot harsher.
It is. It's a, well, that's what I mean is you definitely you were forced to make that decision much earlier than most people.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that must have been a tough thing to go through. Or did you feel free?
Free. Yeah, it was pretty, not just free, but just having those thoughts of like, oh, everything is different than the way I was raised to think it is. Mm-hmm. There are options out there, and there's like, I can rethink everything ever imagined.
Yeah.
I can think about it again and decide, do I believe this? Maybe. Yes. No. Maybe some things I will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I let you do your rant, but I mean, in all seriousness, that obviously I'm not, if there's any part of the church that did that, I'm obviously against it. But the reason that you go to church and you have faith in things is kind of to bring, I don't know. So I guess my point is like there's a lot of people that are good people and help you, and it probably goes back to the Penn State and Binghamton University thing, whereas like, people that are in positions of power in any organization.
But you like little things, that's what you could. So under your analogy, it's totally a good analogy, but then it would be like, I could donate money to Hamas. Because even though they're a terrorist organization,
I'm not donating money.
They also
to
build hospitals and schools on occasion. So that's the part you really want to stick to or really want to believe in.
No, I'm just
Get
saying
out of fucking Catholic.
The people that I'm associated with in my church growing up were all good people, and
they all need to get out too.
A lot of the organizations,
they're getting a bad rap.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about people in Europe, man.
Europe,
the Vatican. But that's what my stance is. If I was, I think that's a leap for you, and for me to not know enough about. Like I said, you're more versed in this. I just know my place growing up, and obviously even the people. I mean, these guys are from other countries, a lot of these priests and stuff, and they know.
A lot of the rapists are other countries, too. Some of the rapists are here, too. The weird thing is, no matter where the Catholic Church goes, the rapists go. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you were talking about the organization.
It's not the organization. It's whatever works for your life. Obviously,
you're talking about church, general church.
Right.
So go to a non-Catholic church.
Well, I go to the church that I grew up at. That's the one.
Oh, I get it. Well, that's an issue, actually, that I can think about. Because that is something where you're like, it fills me with like
It's
warmth.
not like I search out and like, there's a church, there's a Catholic church, there's this church. It's like.
That's an issue. You know what, though? No, I get it, because that gives you a feeling of like, oh, this feels right.
No, I mean.
I grew up here.
But the
problem is, like, it's like, let's just say you grew up with your brother and you want to be friends with your brother, but if he starts molesting children, it's a bad example, but like if he starts doing something really bad, you're like, well, I can't hang out with you anymore, man.
But that's not an easy thing because
no, it's not easy at all.
It's
way harder.
There's tons of like every Catholic I know that has common sense and a voice is extremely like, what the holy shit, like that really happened, and that just makes you feel. So I guess my point isn't like blaming the entire church, even though. It's fallible.
It's the people who are running the church. Right. It's not like you have a few rapists that come out of the church.
Absolutely. So
it's like they're the people who are in charge.
I'm trying. Well,
it's like a crooked government.
It's
a crooked government. You have to overthrow that government.
To me, like that my church is built around the people that I grew up with, so that's why it feels like it feels like it's an individual thing to me, even though obviously you follow certain rules and there's there's all those rules. Like somebody gets divorced, it doesn't mean that they don't exist or they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all these kind of crazy rules and no contraception or anything crazy.
Oh yeah. They finally went against that. They finally.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like that. I don't keep up on that because those aren't the official rules that I follow. I just
no contraception, but that's part of their group too. That's what they say also.
I'll just disagree with that part of it. That just for me, like
they don't say contraception.
No. I'm saying that the little
like one of the rules is listen to your pope, right?
I don't
Whatever he
think
says
so.
goes.
Is it?
I don't know. That one I don't know.
I don't really.
Why is there a pope? I'm talking to the wrong guy about this, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm talking to completely
It
the
was
wrong
always
guy.
more of a common sense approach to me, you know. Uh-oh. Ari's Googling Holocaust.
There's a quote I want to read to you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving will be over. What did it say on the outside? No, it's not First Came First Socialist. Holocaust quotes. Oh, maybe it's on photos. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That is hard.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying you're not right to feel that way. I just know that obviously if I felt I was supporting something directly that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you're not
I
giving money to them.
I don't feel connected to it now.
It does suck because I can way more easily say, just like I said, it's not a just God wouldn't make it easier for you to find heaven than for me through faith in Jesus. And it's like, it's a lot easier for me to shit on the Catholic Church than someone who grew up in it.
But it's not even the people what I grew up with. It's the people that I grew up with. So it's more of the town and the community than the. It wasn't like we picked on every other church. You know what I mean? It's just like we were all kind of the same. It wasn't a dividing thing growing up where I grew up. I guess the religious. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, they don't believe what we believe, so don't talk to them.
It wasn't none of that.
It was never like that, no. So it's like if I was staying at my friend's house and he was Protestant and we went to Protestant church that morning, it wasn't a big deal, or it wasn't, you know.
So you should go with him then.
I have, but
From when you go back from now on, you should go to the Protestant one.
Oh well.
It's like by going there.
But my family, my friends, all those priests there and the whole community has helped us a lot. So I'm not gonna hold that against them. You know what I mean?
Damn it! I want this quote, but I can't find it. Fuck. It was pretty much when you see something horrible, remember what you saw here.
Right.
When you see something horrible, speak up, do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're doing nothing.
Well, I haven't seen anything. I'm not funding anything. I'm not.
But you don't think that's happening? The rapes?
No, I'm saying I don't know who to hold accountable, but I know who not to, and that's the people that
you grew
are,
up with. Yeah. God.
My community.
Maybe you should start a petition over there if you would care. I know you don't care, but if you cared, maybe you would start a petition saying, "Hey guys, I think we should all switch over to Protestant. I think we should change this church to a Protestant church."
Oh, come on, man! It's like
let's keep everything the same, but we just want to be grouped in with them.
Well, I mean, I'm not shitting on your decision to leave Yeshiva University because I think it's a fine school. And even knowing all that stuff, even if you didn't believe it, I'm sure would help you down the road at some point.
What would? Having
all
religion?
the stuff that you would have studied. No, I'm just kidding.
I did study a shit ton. I would have studied more, but I studied a shit ton.
You probably I remember more from that 1 year.
Yeah, and in Israel for 2 years, I was in yeshiva 14 hours a day, just studying like Talmud and just Torah in general.
What was Israel like? Was it all religious, based?
I was in a
stuff?
yeshiva. It was like a seminary, with no once you graduate you're a rabbi, none of that. But it was all day long and all night long you study.
Yeah,
an hour lunch break.
I mean
break for prayer services.
To me, you sound like somebody who's gone both extremes. And yeah, most people usually stay around the middle. So you never have those breaking points or those moments of, if I was forced to go.
You're sort of casually into it. You're just sort of like, eh.
Well, you use it how it works for you, and it kind of guides you, I guess. But it's like if someone was like, all right, well, if you're this Catholic, how about you go to this monastery for a year? Then I would really have to then I would analyze here's what I believe and here's what I don't, and I guess.
This is what the rabbis always told us. It was like, religion isn't a tossed salad. You can't just pick parts of it out and say, oh, I don't like these. I'm not eating these. It's like, it's all of it. All of it is your religion. But you don't get to choose.
But
you're saying God said. God told me to do this, but I wearing the condoms too hard.
But it's like, I don't know. For this discussion, the easiest way would be to say, like we all kind of have our own ways. Well, I guess you don't, but I mean,
What?
most of the people that I know that spirituality or the religious stuff works for them is they've kind of come to it on their own terms, and they're not basing it on what the Catholic Church is telling them to do, or it's not.
It's just
based
sort of
on,
embarrassing to be part of that now. Like all those people who graduated from Penn State, they're like, I don't want anybody knowing this week,
right?
Because they're associated with something there. It's like they're all embarrassed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I would just think if this kept happening, and I was part of that group, like, I don't want to be associated with that at all. Mm-hmm. Like I'll just change.
But that's
especially
what I mean.
When it's such a small change.
So who do you hold accountable? Like everybody at Penn State, or everybody on the football team, even? Like it's like
no. But if the stuff kept going, was still going on, once everybody knew about it, for you to stay at Penn State, it's
don't think
tough.
it did?
What?
There's people around seem to be saying like, hey, everyone.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's
knew.
like I'm talking about the people who are just associated barely with Penn State. They're a junior this year when it came out.
Yeah.
You
think they should
But if
transfer?
Penn State's like, we're not firing anybody, we're keeping Sandusky around. We know he did, but you know what? We don't think that's that big a deal.
Right.
We're not giving him access to the kids on campus anymore.
Interesting.
Then I think you should transfer out of Penn State. But they took the proper. They showed like we are not behind this in any way.
Well, I guess my feeling would to be, well, what am I getting out of this? So
if the Catholic Church instantly fired those people and reported them to the police, then it'd be like, hey, it keeps happening, but we are not behind this. Mm-hmm. But they don't. They cover it up.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that
it's just so egregious to me. I know. It takes a while.
For me, like
there.
that's the thing. Is like, if I was at Penn State, that would turn my stomach too. But if I had to put all those years into studying, and I need that degree, and am I just making a stand to make a stand, or
you could transfer.
Is it something that I can't
transfer real easily?
Yeah.
And it's not like Penn State is that great a school. It's not like you're going to Penn.
Well, I'm saying that's interesting. I'm not saying that you're wrong either way. I'm just saying that would be something that would really make you think and have to analyze it. But I don't feel like
at some point you're like, what's my responsibility here in this situation? Like, what is it? If I thought like if I was at Maryland back then, I didn't really stand for anything.
Right.
I don't now either. But if there was something I thought was really like at the Comedy Store after that Mencia Rogan thing happened, and then stupid Paulie got personal shit involved and told Rogan to take a break after that. It was like you can not side with anybody here. That's fine.
Right.
But you can't side with the guy. Come on. One comic interrupted like the show. That's Mencia. Like one comic was saying he wasn't a thief. The other comic said that guy was. It's very clear. Like only possibly the worst you could say is neither one are wrong. We're not talking about it, but you can't take the wrong side. But I was so grossed out. Because for 2 days, that was like the Comedy Store was like the coolest place in the fucking world. Todd Glass saw me outside the Improv. I was like, dude, I heard about it. I wasn't around a computer. I was at home in Philadelphia, whatever it was. And it's like I had to run over to someone's house just so I could watch it. The video for 2 days, that place was awesome. And then they just ruined it. And honestly, I couldn't go over there it took me like 10 months to go back there.
Really?
Yeah, I just felt sort of gross. I'd come back from the Ice House instead of pulling in. I'd be like, and I would just keep driving.
Yeah.
And I went to the Improv more and stuff like that. And at some point, that feeling faded. But it wasn't like they continued to like keep backing the wrong guy or whatever. And you realize it was just stupid Paulie getting personal. And
right.
I'm sure he regrets it too now. But it's just like, it's like, what's your responsibility? Do you want to be part of this, or do you want to be like, ew?
Well,
I feel bad.
And also the part of it where what am I? Let's say you said, all right, you know what? I'm boycotting the Comedy Store. Yeah. And it's like, well, what?
You don't have to make a big deal of it.
What would that really do?
Right. It wouldn't do anything, but it's like, what's your responsibility to yourself? Like, do I want to be a part of this, or do I really not?
Yeah, and that's an interesting. That's like a really good question for Penn State right now. It's like, wow, so who is the one that's kind of who is responsible, and then who is the one that kind of like
because they fired Paterno, they fired anyone who could have covered it up. They're all pretty much gone. So then you're like, is the school? People say they should cancel. They should cancel the rest of the football season. And I was like, that's not fair. She goes, well, it was a football program, but it was like these kids weren't even there.
How many people? I mean, it's none of the players.
It's none of the right. It's like none of the players who were involved now.
Hurting.
Yeah, if Paterno was still there, then kill the season.
And also
or if it came out, yeah.
And the sad thing of Penn, it's not sad, but like, hey, there's people that's their life.
Yeah, but I was like,
6 months
what if,
to go
what if
see
Joe
these dumb
Paterno,
games,
in addition to like maybe not reporting that as much as he should have, let's just say, whatever it was, whatever his act was, what if in addition to coaching the football team, he also taught a psychology class? Should the people that are a month away from getting those 3 credits just have to not take psychology anymore, or should they get a sub? Like they're not the ones doing it.
Yeah.
Even if the rape happened in the psychology department, it's still like it's not those kids. It's not the ones that are in college now.
Right, right.
But yeah, once those people have been fired, like what's your responsibility as a human at Penn State? I mean, I feel like they took care of what they should have taken care of, and they're investigating the rest.
Yeah, it's a tough.
They're saying like we were not behind this, we didn't know about it. The ones that did are all gone.
Because you're giving me the stuff about the church, like obviously if the priest at my church said, hey, you know what? We don't think that these priests touched these boys and didn't do this, and if you don't think that, you can leave now. Of course, that would force me to make that decision and do it. But
you're a grown man now, and it's like you are the things you surround yourself with.
Right, and I feel like I'm comfortable in where I surround myself because, like I said, I don't. It's not like I belong to a worldwide organization. I don't feel I'm like religious in my own terms, and there's a community that I belong to when I go back home, and
it's weird because none of that had anything to do with child endangerment.
What do you mean? My
your
church?
church at home, your priest. I'm sure.
No.
I mean, almost all of them, nothing bad was happening.
Right.
Yours is not like different. Yours is the regular one.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how most of your churches.
I mean, the whole point of that would be.
But that fills you with good feelings. You like.
And
it's
on
church.
my terms. That's what I'm saying. It's not like.
But it's like that they're part of a bigger group. I don't know. It's
weird. But 3 different times we've seen, so far, like there's somebody that has this amount of power, and these people that just can't just go along with shit.
Yeah.
And people do. It's a human thing, and so ultimately, who's responsible, or what is your responsibility?
It's a boycott of Greyhound if they wouldn't let black people in the front.
Yeah.
So they're all like, well, we're done until you change the policy. We're done with your place.
That happened?
Yeah.
Or that? Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a boycott of Greyhound bus lines.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You came to that point in your life where you had to make that decision, or you felt like you needed that, and I haven't been there, and I'm really comfortable where I'm at because I don't feel like I owe anything, or I don't have any rules making me feel guilty about anything.
So I would just stop saying you're Catholic then.
I didn't say anything. I said I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
I go to a Catholic church. That's the name of the church at home in St. Pat's. But
it happens so much that I'd almost have to say I was raised Catholic. I mean, obviously, I don't stand for any of those things they did with the children.
Well, I
would have to say that every time somebody asked me.
I would think any Catholic person wouldn't think that would be their...
You would think that unless the heads of the organization kept covering it up.
I'm not disagreeing.
Kept enabling it.
But I'm just saying, like...
I'm not blaming you for it. When I say that, I'm amazed at how they could have done that. How could they have done that?
Well, I feel like you're putting me in a position where
I'm not trying to. I'm just imagining them.
Well, I feel like I'm backpedaling, but I really don't feel any responsibility. I don't feel anybody from my church has anything to do with it.
But is it because you're barely associated with the idea of Catholicism?
Probably. I just feel like it's more a religious, spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Which nobody has.
The only equivalent the Jews have to like different types of Jews is they have like Sephardic and Ashkenazi. And there's like the Middle Eastern Jews and the I guess Eastern European Jews.
Right.
And there's a few different customs, but there's no real organization that controls them all. So it's not really totally apt.
Yeah, and it's of course the reason that we left England. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah, religious freedom.
Yeah. So it's like the fact that even it's run by an organization that's in Europe is kind of funny, don't you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a good point.
It's very un-American.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't trying to put any pressure on you. I just kept as I'm saying it, I'm imagining how terrible it was that the actual heads of the church would cover up and let it happen more. Like, what are they doing? Like, what?
Well,
they're just trying to protect their own. I get that emotion. I get the like, he's a priest like us. Let's help him.
Of course, you're not surprised because people are basically just concerned with making sure that that's not what that organization is. Like Penn State doesn't want to be the school that your kids get molested at. You
No,
know what I mean?
but they're going to be the Letterman jokes for not yet. In like a year, they're going to be the Letterman jokes for like a long time.
So that's what I mean. So if it was up to them, maybe they told nobody that this happened, and they just took care of this quietly. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't blame them for trying to do that, right?
But handle it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What
Get
if they
rid of those
handled
people,
it?
but
They said Joe Paterno's just old, and this assistant coach wanted to retire, and
They'd have to go to the police too.
yeah.
I would expect them to go to police. And
But you'd understand why they're like, hey,
yeah, I get why they
we
would
want
do
to
that.
handle this, but we don't want anyone else to know about it.
I understand now why they would try to do it.
But I think
it's so the wrong. But I would hold an academic like just someone who works at Penn State in the what is it, faculty,
right.
whose job that is. I don't hold them to the same standard I would, not just a priest, but like a priest. I hold them to like a higher standard of like what I get why those people at Penn State, why they might feel like, oh, even if they don't, like why we should cover this up or just let's get rid of them. But let's not go to the police. But like someone that's high up in the Catholic Church, they need to be way better than that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I don't know how any of that stuff. I don't know what.
At least fire the priest.
I don't know what the
Keep it
varying
quiet, but at
degrees.
least fire them.
Well, what about like so Penn State? Let's say they take care of all that stuff. Everything else is taken care of. But I almost think it's better now that it's out there because people are more on the lookout for it. I think it's helpful, and I
think you can gain help from it. You can like say, oh, at least some parts of it are good. People are looking, but that's not. You don't like take it.
Do you don't think in the next 6 months there's going to be
child molesters
handful
now
of coaches that were like, hey, this guy was doing the same thing the Penn State guy was.
I bet there will be
in the 90s. I think there's.
Well,
going
that's
to be
Syracuse. That happened in Syracuse immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of false.
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
Everybody thinks that one's false, huh?
Well, I'm not sure.
That's pretty much the feeling.
I heard
everyone's against.
I only heard that I can't. But I do feel like there's going to be people either step forward that this happened or.
Or you know what might help too? There might be a coach about to rape and then say, you know what, maybe this isn't a foolproof. I got to case this joint first a little better.
Maybe we'll make individual showers in this locker room.
Save that one starfish, not all of them. Let's go eat. Are you hungry?
Yeah, we covered everything, man.
Yeah.
Now
that I wasn't trying to attack you at all. As I was saying, I was realizing how it was making me mad.
Well, no,
not about you.
You came. I mean, that's a huge deal in your life that you came to that place very early, and you're like, all right, I have to make this decision because the rest of my life is based on studying this. So,
I was a virgin until I was 23.
So that's like I said, extremes.
Yeah. And now I'm just so removed from any sort of even relationships. It's like anybody goes out with me knows it's like it's what we're gonna go out, we're gonna have sex here or there, we're gonna enjoy each other's company, and that's it.
Virgin and porn stars.
Yeah.
either way, you need to find the middle somewhere, Ari.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Be right in the
I
middle.
had the middle too. I had just regular girlfriends. I just got bored.
Have a good amount of faith. Have a good amount of sex. Have a good amount of.
Just blend in. That's what Paul Morrissey's message is. Just be average.
Stay in the middle. Don't rock the boat. It makes me sound like I didn't make any decisions.
Yeah, it's weird. I had a crisis of faith where I had to really think about what I believed, but it wasn't like I never really thought of like I'm against this thing that the head of this Jewish organization is doing, or I never had to consider any of that stuff.
No, I totally feel like what's Troy Conrad like? I think he's the one that was raised like a religious fanatic.
Yeah.
And like now, obviously, he feels like his duty to go kind of the other way, and what all about that was wrong, and that kind of stuff. Like I understand that part if you're raised, but I don't feel like.
Yeah, it took me a while. So even at 20, like at 20, I guess that's how old I was when I guess realized I didn't believe in any of it. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel too like I felt then that if I could go to heaven after you die, if there are like a pearly gates, and he's like, "What's up? Why'd you like stop doing all that?" I'd be like, "Oh, well, you didn't put a belief inside me. You forgot to drop me with one of those belief bombs, so I was just malfunctioning because you didn't fix me right." But yeah, I was pretty much a good person though, right? And he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's fine. Oh, if you didn't believe, yeah, sure, that's cool. Come on in."
Well, I feel like That only happened once. It was actually one of those basketball tournaments. It was like and one of those weird religious ones, and they had like a halftime thing, and like who wants to not go to hell or something like that. And of course I raised my hand, and then the guy said afterwards like, "Oh, you want to be saved?" I was like, "No, you just asked me if I didn't want to go to hell." Like I didn't know this was like a marketing.
You're like, whoa! You're making a leap.
You're trying to like make me buy something here.
Don't put words in my mouth, officer.
So from then on, I kind of was like, okay, I'll kind of take what I need from
religion, make it
that part, because there's going to be a lot of shysters involved, of course, because people are just looking for,
Oh yeah, when I was waiting at Maryland, I was transferring there, and I had to go to orientation. Transfer orientation.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little easier than like freshman orientation. And I'm waiting there for my friend to pick me up. We're going to play golf. That roommate I eventually had. And this guy came by. I was just sitting in the quad. It was just beautiful, like September, early September, late August or something. And he was like, "Hey, man, you new here?" And I was like older kid a little bit, probably like 3 or 4 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just starting." He goes, "Oh, but this awesome club. You should come hang out." And I was like, "Oh, I don't go clubbing. Like, I'm not a dancer." He goes, "It's not that kind of club, man. We just sit around and talk about the Lord." And I was like, "Oh," and he quoted me something from, and I cannot remember what it was now, but it was from the Book of Prophets. Mm-hmm. And he misquoted it. And if I hadn't just studied it like 3 months before, like I had just gotten through reading it, I wouldn't have caught him on it. But it was like, it was like somewhere to prove that Jesus had suffered or something. And I was like, that's not the sentence at all. Mm-hmm. But just in order to get me like, yeah, I should be into Jesus. I don't know what my point was, but
he was trying to like win
he was trying
over.
To proselytize me in.
Yeah. That's the whole thing is, the church was like, "Hey, if you want to play in this basketball team with us, you got to go to church 2 times." I was like, "Well, I'm not going to your
I'm
church.
not going to do that, so
I'll play basketball." But even early on, I knew like
counter offer. No, but I'll still play under my new rules if I won't go to church and I won't say "fuck God" during games. That got you upset. Just me saying that got you like, whoa.
It was just funny because you're at the. It's funny.
Ari, for the longest time, I was agnostic.
I see that fire.
I was agnostic. Where I was like, well, I just don't have the belief. So it's like, I don't know. I wish I could believe. I wish I believed, but I just don't have it in me. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I don't know if there's a God until I realize that that's just immaturity, agnosticism. Fucking believe. What do you believe? There's a God or there's no God? Which one is it? What's your religion? Pick one. That's what you do 100% of the time. And you can stay Catholic, but like you have to overthrow them or something. But like, what was I just saying? Motherfucker. Oh yeah, but that's all it is. You have to be mature. Either don't believe, and I don't at all. To me, it's like those stories are all ridiculous.
Right.
They're clearly just fables and stories. And anything you believe more than that is like you're reaching.
Well, that's what I mean is that you take what you can from.
But some things are beyond explanation. Maybe bears talk in the woods. what do you talk? You can say, but maybe about anything. Then there's no conversation. Is there any proof? Mm-hmm. Any real proof? And people would say like, well, people have accounts. Like, ugh. To anyone who says people have accounts of real religious experiences,
right.
I will say that there is this quote in this book, I forget what it is, like mistakes we make while we're thinking, like humans make. It's like the instances of fairy sightings, percentage-wise, in the United States, like people to total percentage of fairy sightings in like the 1700s were identical percentage-wise to the instances of UFO sightings in like the 1960s. It was just like people see shit. There's a shadow. Right. And they try to throw in whatever they want to throw in. So I'm sure you had a great experience. Well, the one psychic I went to, he really knew stuff. Well, guess what? I don't believe you at all. How about those guys are good at what they did?
Well, I mean, you're obviously feeling.
I saw this one comedian. Urgency. He just made up everything right on the spot. Well, no, I just want to sound like that. You got shysted.
Ari is still looking for answers, I feel.
I don't think I am anymore. I think I've clearly found them. Where I'm like, oh, how obvious.
But you're still thinking about it. You still feel like
it's shoved down my throat like at all costs in this country.
Well, that's
and I'm sure
the extremes.
Other countries.
That's what I'm saying is like you need to not. Of course, when you're pushed so to extremes, you're gonna react in a.
Everyone telling me like, oh, you need a child. That'll help. Fuck you. No, I don't. I'm sure if you're happy with your kid, great. but you look like you're having a bummer of a time.
Are you all right, man? I don't want to be upset.
I get fired up once in a while. It's a Jack Herrera.
Yeah, I'm upset with referees. You're upset with religion. So.
Yeah, you get so mad. You got right in that guy's face last night. You got right in his face. Like, you don't know anything. How's he going to call double foul on me and David Taylor? I'm boxing him out, and instead of going for the ball, I just keep boxing him out. And it wasn't even rough or anything. I was just popping him away from him. No one else even going for it. And then he called it double foul. How do you got 4 fouls in the first half?
Ari is a very violent person.
I'm spazzy. There's a difference. That results in, some more fouls, but not 4 in the first half.
Ari controls the middle.
Control the media. All right. Let's go. All right, thank you.
Do we find all the answers?
No, yeah.
I felt like I needed to stay out of your way in the religious talk and let you.
Well, clearly, once I realized you said Catholic, and once I was like, you shouldn't be Catholic, I got the sense like, oh, I don't care at all.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like I meant Christian. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I'm not gonna switch anything today.
Yeah. So at least you didn't start doing the thing that I used to always do, is like suddenly feel like I had to argue for one side and then get super impassioned.
No,
for the side
I feel it's
about.
a personal thing, and like there's people that have had horrible religious like group experiences and ruin their lives and all that kind of stuff. So I understand the extremes.
I get the point of religion. I get the community, the sense of community you get, and I get that. I miss when I left Judaism. That's what I missed the most.
And that's what I mean is like you can find that in different things, but if it's like I said, that's
if you only get it from there. I guess go for it if it fills it with good thoughts. But it's like, it's like you're going to a book reading every week. They're reading Aesop's fables to you.
It's that thing of remember when comedy and you started to get you're a few years in and you start getting like, oh, that guy's a hack, or you shouldn't like him, or blah blah blah. And if somebody's like, oh, I love Gallagher, he makes me so happy, and
you get mad,
and
at
then
them.
You're like, what is stupid? What's wrong with you?
I'm very tolerant of that.
And then it's like, no, that person's enjoying something. Don't Why do you need to shit on their parade?
Because they have to shove it down our throats. If they were like,
that's true.
Love Gallagher.
That's
and
true.
Everywhere they went, they'd be like, have you seen? Listen, come here, just popping headphones on people. Like, you gotta hear Gallagher.
When they do say this guy's the greatest one ever.
If I had to follow you up in an elevator because I saw a yarmulke on your head that said, I don't like Gallagher, and I followed you up in an elevator and said, do you accept the Gallagher as the greatest comedian of all time? Which is the most equivalent I can make to the experience of having some lady follow me up in an elevator and say, do you accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior?
Right.
If I had those people around with Gallagher, then I'd say, yes, fuck you for liking Gallagher. You fucking idiot. It's just shoved at me at all times.
Exactly.
It's so easy for them to say that I'm ridiculous for not believing in God. But if I like, hey, please don't be insensitive. Just let me not believe.
Yeah, it's a
but they're constantly
thing.
like, oh, they're looking down, pitying me. Well, it's like, guess what? I pity you. How about that? We all look at you as like you're wasting your lives. Whatever. Sorry, that wasn't very.
Right,
none of that was very funny.
I'm letting you work it out.
Maybe this is what my next hour is going to be about. Maybe it is. Maybe I should do more about religion.
This is going to be a comedy show?
What?
That's going to be a comedy show?
It's always my problem. Whenever I talked about Israel, like Aaron Kitty used to try to get me to talk about Israel, my time there. But when I talk about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, back then when I tried, I wasn't a very good comedian, and I would just get angry, and it would just be angry, like ranting on stage, and it wasn't funny, and the crowds wouldn't, even if there were jokes, it seemed like I was too mad.
Right.
And so it wasn't funny to them.
Well, I think anything that seems like you know everything, it's always putting you in a bad place.
But even if it's not, if it's like you take one side, but even, I was just mad. I was just like, whatever. But like, I'm at a place where I can control that now, and I can express myself on stage about stuff I'm mad about, but not be angry while I'm saying it. Like, we're all better comics now that we've been doing it for 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's things that get you upset, and you have to find the productive things and the...
But maybe I should talk. Maybe now I can handle all that Palestinian-Israeli shit, all the religious stuff, where I'm like, I can make it funny and still have the side I want to.
If you're more likable than Bill Maher.
Yeah, I wouldn't shove it down people's throats, but you can't, because you couldn't be able to come from the place of like, obviously you're wrong.
Well, I feel.
That's how I really feel, but like, you can't say that.
You can't say that. You can't even in politics when somebody's telling me, it's like, what? Who the fuck are you to?
Yeah, you have to sort of prove
everything.
it in some way.
Like, I think that's taken a lot, and it's saying I'm smarter than the rest of you people.
Yeah.
And maybe when you're famous enough and you have a track record.
I like analogies for that reason. I just like to show it to like, okay, it's like your organization kept, like comparing Penn State to the Catholic Church to me is really cool because then you can put yourself in any sort of place. Where am I? Am I one of the students? Am I on the board? Like, where am I in this? And realize, like, well, what would you feel your responsibility is now?
Right.
If make one of them feel what level of responsibility you think they should have, and then say, where am I now? Where's my comparison? Like, what should I do? I don't know.
You're saying you would transfer?
I like analogies. I'm saying analogies help me like express it to people, where it's like I'll leave it to you to decide, but like where would you be in that, and then tell yourself what you think. Like you can make jokes about that sort of thing without having to tell people like you shouldn't be Catholic or whatever it is. You can tell them like they're rapists. Like you can make jokes about that and be like, and about how staying in the organization is.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That was the thing about the. I did that joke on Ferguson. Like this was a few years ago when there was the vote on the gay marriage.
Yeah.
And I said, even though I was in favor of gay marriage, the joke was basically like, I think people voted against it because, we have common law marriage too.
Yeah.
So which is just if you live with the same person for 7 years. So
You're
they're
married.
just afraid we'd end up with like two loser dudes sharing the same shitty apartment for 7 years, and then these actor guys just end up being married. And it was like a funny joke, but then it's like, oh, it is ridiculous that we're not,
that we're not accepting gay marriage.
Yeah. It wasn't like a forceful way to do it, but it was just like that's how silly this is.
That was one of my first bits that I really liked doing. Is I did a bit about gay marriage and how it should be legalized. And the only time I got it is I was at the Comedy Store patio on Sunset after the gays were allowed to get married here for a while, for a few months.
Right.
And then the Mormons came and ran an ad campaign, and then they're like, all right, we'll put it to a vote. Took it away from like a judge saying yes, put it to a vote of the people, and the people voted it down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so not only didn't you have a right, you had the right revoked. It's like a way worse way to go.
Yeah.
And they were marching down Sunset. All the gays were marching down Sunset. And I just really felt bad for them. I was like, yeah, I get it. You should be able to. You guys are all clearly gay.
Right.
You're like, there's different types of gays, but this is the queen. That it's like clearly effeminate gay. And you're like, if you want to live with another guy like that,
right?
Who's telling you what to wait for a woman?
Right.
That's ridiculous.
And that was,
and I just felt bad for them. And then it was like, write a joke to express how they should be able to get married. But when you do it in the South, they don't come from the place. Like I remember doing it in Tennessee once, and they don't come from the place of like, obviously this should be allowed, like they do in L.A. They come from a place of like, no, this shouldn't be allowed.
Right.
So then you have to really just justify all your like points.
Yeah.
But you can still make your points.
Yeah, and that was that joke was like, not only, there's tons of ridiculous marriage laws.
You just have to add to that joke.
Yeah.
Of like,
common law marriage is ridiculous. It's ridiculous that just because you live with someone, you should be married to them. Is that any crazier than two gay guys getting married? Like,
that's good.
Know what I mean?
That's good. I like that.
Just because you didn't get a full-time job, and can't afford your own apartment, you get to be in the sacrament of marriage or whatever it is. Like, what a gift.
That's funny, actually, when you do it that way, when you do the comparison that way. All right, let's go eat.
All right, man. Happy thanks. Happy when's this coming out?
I don't know. I think that this might be this week, actually.
Is that religious? Do you observe Thanksgiving?
We don't, only because my mom said this. She goes, I cook a fucking giant chicken and a brisket every Friday and Saturday, and turkeys every once in a while too. I'm not doing it for some Thursday. I'm not doing that.
Well, this could be your
She
Christmas.
goes, you want to go to somebody's house? Go to someone else's house. We're not cooking that Thursday because it's an American holiday.
Yeah, Thanksgiving isn't religious. You should
at all
pour everything into that. Just being thankful.
Just being thankful? I do that. Ryan Parsons told me that one day. Be thankful for 5 things in the shower in the morning. Just say them out loud.
Really?
5 things that you're thankful. Any 5 things. Within a week, it helps your outlook so much. It's so much. Just saying them out loud. Like, it's not raining today. That's one. Like, whatever they are. We won in basketball yesterday. Right. We're on a 2,
So you're jinxing everything.
Whatever you say. Just say 5 things. Jinxing. Not that like this will come true, but just things that have happened.
Yeah.
Or like, whatever it is. That cop let me off for a ticket. Thank for that. Just 5 random things. Not the biggest things in the world.
Right.
You could be like, I just found someone I'm in love with, but like, whatever it is, within a week, you just start feeling better about yourself.
Yeah, because there's that thing of comedy. You find everything wrong with stuff, which is your talent, but your curse.
Yeah, Tommy Donegan told me that. He said that he moved to L.A. and he hated it, and he always said why he hated it. People go like, why do you hate L.A.? And he starts saying the reasons why he hated it. And he goes, at some point he just got annoyed having to tell everybody the reasons why he hated it. Mm-hmm. So he just started, like, it's just easier conversation to be like, yeah, I love it. Just say that. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, I don't want to talk to people, say the same things over and over again. Right. So he's just like, yeah, I love it. And he goes, after a while, I kept saying that, and I just started thinking about the reasons I do love it. Someone will be like, yeah, isn't the weather great? And he'll be like, yeah, the weather is great. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly he's like, oh, I really like it here. Just because I started concentrating on the really cool parts of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it works, man.
You can call your friends at fucking 1 p.m. on a Wednesday and say, let's hang, what are you doing? Let's hang out. It's a nice little life we've all built.
Yeah, that's, be thankful for the 5 things in the shower, Ari says.
9. Oh, did this thing start over again? We went so far and so long.
Yeah, sorry, man.
It's okay. I wonder if we start another track. All right, we're done, though. I have no idea how long this is going.
You worked
All right, bye. Yeah, so long.
Yeah, sorry, man.